So with the Australian grass trees, I get asked a lot, how do I plant them? What do I do with them?
Right. How you plant them? They're a very slow growing plant. Therefore, they need excellent drainage. Because they don't have an extensive root system, they can't draw up a lot of moisture. So you need to set them up in a situation where they're basically raised up, they're elevated in their beds, so that they go and have excellent drainage. They are very they're slow. Your most common variety that you would buy, Xanthorrhoea johnsoni, it puts on about an inch every 10 years. So it's a millimetre a year, basically, a very slow growing plant. The main thing when planting out is not disturbing your root system at all. If you disturb that taproot, probably 9 times out of 10 you'll probably kill the plant. So when buying a containerised plant, rather than try to tap the pot off, just cut the pot off from around the base of it, lift your plant across, place it in your hole, and build your soil up to it so it's elevated.
So we know grevilleas are great bird attracting plants. What other native plants attract birds?
Most of them are going to be good for bird attracting. The advantage, things like grevilleas and banksias are your two highest nectar producing plants of all your Australian native plants. So they will bring in a bigger range of birds, and also because of their flowering period as well. Certain varieties of grevilleas, they can be flowering sort of 8 to 9 months of the year. So you've continually got that colour, therefore you've got birds 12 months of the year. Other natives such as callistemons, with your nice bottle brush type flowers, produce a lot of flowers and will also bring in birds. They don't have the nectar content of what a grevillea or a banksia would have. However, they do produce a lot, and they don't flower quite as long, but they still will bring your birds in. But it also it's good to have a good balance between your grevilleas, your callistemons, banksias, and a good range, because they're not all flowering at the same time as well. A lot of your banksias will be flowering over the autumn period. You'll have your earlier flowering, your southern varieties of grevilleas were flowering over early winter. You'll have your taller upright varieties of grevilleas can be flowering for 8 to 9 months of the year. The only time is probably at the start of the year when they're not flowering as prolifically. And then your callistemons, they'll be starting to come into flower late winter through your spring period. So you can set your garden up so you've got flower for 12 months of the year. Therefore you're bringing in your birds 12 months of the year. So they all will bring birds in, but it's just because of their nectar content and the longevity of the flowers, that grevilleas would probably bring birds in over a longer period.
When you buy a new native plant from the nursery and you take it home, and just say it's one of those little ones,
Yep.
and you prepare the soil, how would you prepare the soil, and then how would you maintain it until it's established, or how much water would it need?
Initially, when you buy them from the nursery, I'll go back to the first question about how you prepare the soils.
Yep.
Preparing the soils. Things like grevilleas and banksias don't like heavy clay type soils. You can still plant them into those soils, you just need to work with your soils prior to planting them. I would recommend digging gypsum through your hole. Gypsum doesn't work with the plant, it works with your soils. It will open up the structure of the heavy clays and improve your drainage. Gypsum will take roughly 3 to 4 months to start working. But in the meantime, your plant's getting established during that time frame anyway. And then the other thing to add with your gypsum is compost. I wouldn't advise putting potting mixes and that in, just well-rotted organic matter compost. So if you've got a compost bin at home, people are recycling. If they're looking at their compost and it's just a rich black colour and has no odour to it, that's perfect to dig through their garden beds. Otherwise, they can purchase a good well-rotted compost. And dig that through, and then your compost is a long-term way of breaking up your clay. Your gypsums will be short-term, or get it actually working in about 3 to 4 months, and then over the next 3 to 4 years, your compost will keep breaking down and keep opening up your clay. So that's soil preparation, and then also again mounding up slightly as well. By mounding up helps aid with the drainage, because it's a lot easier to add water than it is to try and take it away once the plant's planted, if it's planted too deep. So that's with your soil preparation. And as far as Maintenance when you take the plant out, again, normally a plant you should give it a good water before you take it out of the pot. So you don't want to take it out of the pot and all those fine hair roots around the outside get exposed to, particularly in the warmer weather, get exposed and dry out. Put plant to plant upright, green side up.
Yep.
And then I recommend at the time of planting, give it a fertilise at that point. And what I tend to recommend with your fertiliser, again, that the pelletised fertiliser, where your hole is, run a ring right around the outside of your hole where you've dug it, after you plant it, and that ring and your fertiliser roughly probably about an inch, 2.5 centimetres from the top, from the surface. By running a ring right around the outside and about that inch below the surface, you're encouraging your roots to grow in all directions. If you just dump your fertiliser on one side, it'll pull your root system to one side, you won't get a good strong plant. Your plant will get established a lot sooner by running it in a ring around the outside and pulling your roots, those fine feeding roots, pulling them in all directions from the top. Give them a really good water. That a plant's initial water after it's been planted out or transplanted to a larger pot, that's a plant's most important water that it actually receives. It settles your potting mix down and gets rid of the AFP, which is your air field porosity, those air particles in there, settles it down. If you don't give it a good water and you've got large air pockets within your soils, that's when your root systems can dry out. So you need to give them a really good thorough water once they've been initially planted, to settle your potting mixes and that planting mixture, to settle that down. And I don't advise packing down hard. Just giving a good water, that will settle it in. By packing it down hard, quite often those fine surface roots, you can bruise those roots. So just put it in so it's all nice and fluffy, and then water it well.
Lovely. And can you put native plants in pots? Containers?
You can, yes, yep, they will grow well. Again, it comes down to selection of potting mixes that you use. Nutrition is important, so you'd want to use a potting mix which is specifically designed for Australian natives. Certain varieties of native plants, there's a lot of ground covers which are great in hanging baskets you could use. There's other plants, a lot of your smaller grown Banksias, for example, Banksia birthday candles or acacia limelights. They actually do better in pots than what they do in the ground. With our humidity, with our climate up here, they can sweat out because they are a tight, bushy plant. They don't get the air movement planted in the ground. However, in pots, when they are elevated, they get better air movement around it, and they're a lot more successful plants grown in pots than what they actually planted in the ground.